Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us to celebrate 25 years of raising heroes in Jamaica. My name is Kamika Clark, and I'm the agency director here in Jamaica, and I am proud to have been a beneficiary of an education savings plan and to be working with an amazing team to bring you the solution to the challenges of the cost of funding your children's post-secondary education. To mark this milestone tonight, we'll be sharing some special treats with you. We're going to hear a little bit about where we have been as we launch our anniversary celebrations and recognize those who have been instrumental in helping us get there. We will also meet one of our outstanding beneficiaries who's making waves in music, Emmy Nominated artist Tessellated, who'll be blessing us with a special performance. We'll also get to learn from his journey. Finally, we'll wrap things up with a conversation from an expert, Youth Counsellor Gregory Jones, from whom we definitely will gain some insight on how to nurture passion in our children while not losing sight of academics. COVID-19 has forced us to take a different approach, different from what we would normally do, but it's one that we hope will bring some value to parents and families. Tonight represents the first of 5 in our Raising Heroes live web series. Our goal through this series is to learn from the journeys of our 5 young heroes and gain some insight from experts as to how we as parents can raise the next generation of heroes. So we'll start things off with a look back. I'm going to ask Dylan Frost, Vice President of Sales and Distribution, and Maureen Segri-Lyon, Manager of Sales and Distribution for our international business, both from our Canadian head office, to tell you a bit about who we are and what we've accomplished.
Thank you very much, Kamika, and good evening, everybody out there in Cyberland in Jamaica. Maureen and I would much rather be in Jamaica this evening in person, doing a live event, but unfortunately, the situation is what it is, and we're glad to be with you nonetheless from our home offices in Toronto, Canada. I'm here just to provide you with a little bit of background on the company, some of our accomplishments, so I'll get right into that. Heritage Education Funds International is a division of Knowledge First Financial, which is a not-for-profit organization based in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, which is just an outskirt of Toronto. We have a long history of promoting the advancement of higher education and helping families throughout Canada and throughout our international markets prepare financially for their children's future, specifically funding their post-secondary and tertiary education. The parent company, Knowledge First Financial, is actually the largest education savings plan provider in the world, with over $6 billion in total assets under management. And believe it or not, we've paid out over $6 billion as well to qualified students who have gone on to use those funds to help finance the cost of their college or university. This year, Knowledge First Financial celebrated 55 years in Canada, and we're proud of our 37 years in our international markets as well, with operations not only in Jamaica, but also in Bermuda, the Bahamas, and the British Virgin Islands. We're very proud and honored to be celebrating 25 years of Raising Heroes in Jamaica tonight.
Thank you, Dylan. And just to pick up from where Dylan have left off, with an education savings plans from Heritage, parents save in US dollars towards their child's first year of post-secondary education studies. And in the year that the child turns 18, Heritage returns all savings, less fees, in US dollars. In the second, third, and fourth year of post-secondary studies, the foundation pays educational assistance payments, or what we refer to as scholarships, in US dollars directly to the student to assist in offsetting the cost of their studies. Our goal as a company is to offer a solution to the ever-increasing cost of post-secondary education studies. We offer customers a structured savings plan, one that offers a lower risk while partnering with reputable investment fund managers to maximize returns. Contributions from our subscribers are pooled and invested primarily in government-backed securities, and only a portion of the income is invested in equities to ensure that our returns are competitive. High school graduates who pursue some form of post-secondary education studies do have a better life financially in the long run. the cost of post-secondary education is rising exponentially. For example, it could cost as much as $100,000 for a child that is born this year to attend university locally, say in Jamaica. If that same child decides to attend university as a foreign student in the United States, that cost, including tuition, books, room and board, meals, etc., could be as high as $430,000, depending on the program of study, of course. Yes, these costs seem daunting, I'm sure. But it seems daunting, but there is a plan. And the plan is that we as a company do encourage parents to start saving early. It's very important that you start a plan, put a plan in place to start saving to offset these costs and to lessen the burden of having to find it all at once when that time comes. The children nowadays, they don't stay little for too long. Before you know it, they're 18 years old and they're ready for school. So it is therefore imperative that parents plan and start to save now to offset the cost. With prudent planning and a partnership with Heritage, together we can conquer. We are very proud to have been the first to offer a dedicated post-secondary education savings plan in Jamaica. We are truly grateful for the opportunity that we've had to partner with and to assist so many families in Jamaica over the last 25 years. Since inception in Jamaica, we have returned over 57 million US dollars. You heard me right, yes, 57 million US dollars and counting. And this amount represents savings that we return to our subscribers and scholarship payments that have been made out to our students alike. How did we come to be in Jamaica? How did we choose Jamaica? Of all the places, yes, it's the warmth of the people, the wonderful cultures, the beautiful sunshine, the opportunities, but there's more to it than us just choosing to be there. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Dylan to share a little bit about our path on this amazing journey for the last 25 years. Over to you, Dylan.
Thanks again, Maureen. So you may be wondering how our company ended up in Jamaica. So we did ask Lindsay Headley, who's a former agency director for the branch here or there in Kingston, to share a little bit about his journey. Lindsay, believe it or not, found out about our plan during his years in Canada. Specifically, he lived in Edmonton, Alberta. I remember him telling me stories of marketing the plan and going out into the cold winters to talk to families and encourage them to start saving with an RESP or Education Savings Plan in Canada. He obviously saw a need for the product in Jamaica, and based on his energy, his vision, ultimately his passion and his people skills, his relationships, he's been able to help build the agency into what it is today. So without further ado, we'll turn things over to Lindsay and a video message.
My name is Lindsay Headley, and I was a former agency director with the Heritage International Scholarship Trust Plan in Jamaica. Little did I know that when I decided to enroll my two children, Kamika and Kirk, in the Heritage Plan in Vancouver in 1982, that it would change our lives forever. I was so impressed with the plan that I decided to join the company. And in 1985, Carol Rose came to visit Vancouver, and in discussion with her, she learned that I was marketing the same plan that she had enrolled her child in. So we both agreed that if we ever decided, or if I ever decided to take the plan into Jamaica, she would love to be a part of it. In 1995, Carol called me and told me that the Jamaican government had decided to liberalize the US dollar, which meant that folks were now able to get US dollars a lot easier than before, and that she now wanted to join the Heritage Plan and market it in Jamaica. In the next year, 1996, I decided to visit Jamaica and met with her and realized that Jamaican parents really had a deep interest in the Heritage Plan. And as a result of that, I decided to go back to Canada and relocate back home and return home. I returned in 1996, and in 1997, the Heritage Home Office transferred the agency to me, and by 2002, the Jamaican agency became the top agency in the international division, and we've remained in that position from that time until now. In 2017, after having been in the scholarship industry for 35 years, I decided to retire, and I transferred the agency to my daughter, Kamika Clark, and she has been able to maintain the Heritage Jamaican agency as still in the top position. Recently, I was most impressed when Kamika came and told me that Home Office had sent all the checks to be disbursed to parents whose plans had matured this year, and it totaled 315 checks with a total of $4.5 million. And I was very, very impressed and satisfied that I was able to play a part in, providing the support to parents to save for their children's tertiary education and give them that opportunity. But my most memorable moment was actually just last night when Kamika told me that she was advised that the total number of checks that had been paid to Jamaican parents and children since the inception of the Heritage Plan in Jamaica in 1995 total a whopping US $57 million. Now that blew me away. I would really like to say how pleased I am that at the fact that I was able to achieve my goal and at the same time play an important part in helping children have a future educational opportunity. I would also like to thank all the representatives who played a part in the success of making Heritage what it is today after 25 years.
Thank you, Lindy. Lindy was able to summarize a 25-year journey in just a few minutes, but we know the journey was not easy and the team has had its share of bumps along the way. We're so very proud of what Lindy and now Kamika and the rest of the team in Jamaica has accomplished. Over to you, Maureen.
And with that, at the core of our success, as Lindy and Dylan alluded to, is a team of dedicated and committed, hardworking sales representatives who work very hard to do the best for their subscribers. I'd like to introduce some of our longest serving team members tonight, those who have served for 10 years or more. Among them is one of our original sales representatives and longest serving salesperson, Ian Myrie. We also have Joan Buchanan, who is our first associate agency director, and Glenna Trail Nassor, one of our longest serving sales. Well, Glenna is now an associate agency director as well. But yeah, these are the teams that we would the team that we are focusing tonight. You'll hear more from others as we go along. We have Marie Samuels, who have served for 18 years. There's Donna Burrell, and Sybil McLean, who will be unfortunately leaving us this year at the end of the month. Sybil is retiring, and I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you to all of you for all that you have done over the years. We still have some more here. We have Beverly Lang, who has served for 17 years. Stacy and Guy, who's one of the office administrators for 17 years. Loy Alexander, 16 years. Caroline Sang Downer, 15 years. One of our sales managers, Patricia Duncan, one of the office admin staff at 15 years. Simone Griffith for 13 years. My goodness, this is awesome. Linda Levy, Sanchia Henry Gibson. I think that completes the list of our long-serving sales professionals. We want to say congratulations to them. A job well done, day in and day out, in good times and in bad times. This team have stood the test of time and have made us really, really proud of all that you have accomplished over the 25 years. If any of you who are have joined us tonight are interested in hearing more how you could join this awesome team of amazing sales professionals, please send us a note in the comment section, and Kamika will, or one of our team members will be very happy to contact you with more details. Thanks. Thanks, guys, and thanks for all that you've done. Well done. Congratulations on your milestone accomplishments.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Once again, a very special thank you to our team members who have worked so hard to grow the agency to where it is today. And congratulations to all of you on 25 years in Jamaica. Looking ahead, we're exploring partnerships to expand our reach across the island and have equipped our team members to connect remotely with clients and complete the application process virtually, which has been very important and critical to our business during COVID-19. We look forward to another 25 years of serving Jamaican families. At this point, I'd like to acknowledge and thank our advisory board who have lent their names, wisdom, and advice over the years. Mr. Robert Gregory, Rex James, Dr. Evan Nepal, Beverly Hewlett, Dr. Rulio Wilson, and Professor Dale Weber. Thanks again to our entire team and all the members, and in fact to everyone who has joined us online tonight.
Well, and thank you both, Dylan and Maureen, for joining us from Canada at this hour. I know you would have far preferred to have made the trip and be here despite it being rainy season, but we're really glad that you're able to do this given the time change and just to spend the time in celebrating with us. So I hope you too will enjoy the rest of this evening and the series as well. And I have to say throughout the series, we're going to be sharing with you memorable moments from our longest serving reps. So we want to hear from them over the course of the series and give them an opportunity to share with you. So we'll start off with a moment from Ian Myrie, one of, in fact, probably the original sales rep. Cue video.
Hi, I'm Ian Myrie. I've been with Heritage since 1996. And one of my greatest joys, apart from seeing my 2 children benefit from this plan, was when I enrolled a grandparent. Her grandchild was then 5 years old. The plan matured, and I literally brought the check to her. When she got it, tears came to her eyes. She could not believe that this thing works. We embraced, and I told her this is what Heritage is about, helping grandparents like you to fund post-secondary education for their grandchildren. And I thanked her.
Thank you, Ian, for your many, many years of service. You have been at the core of everything we do, and we really do appreciate it. And I'm so excited to get into the rest of what it is that we have for you this evening with Tessellated. Joshua Meeks started playing instruments at the age of 4, starting with the drums, then steel pan, and moving on to guitar and piano. And he was part of the school band and began his studies at Full Sail University in Florida. 3 years ago, after an all-night session, the track Pine and Ginger was born, one of my favorites, and has had a staggering 30 million streams. Last year, Apple came calling using his track, I Just Learned Some Jazz Today. I think that might be my favorite. In their global AirPods Bounce advertising campaign, which was nominated for an Emmy Award just this last month. And it's a Billboard #1 jazz single. It has 25 million streams, 250 million Shazams, and it's top of the Shazam charts in the US, Canada, UK, Japan, and more. It's incredible. And as a result, Tess has since signed with Sony ATV and is working on his first solo projects. Yesterday, he debuted music in a Get Out the Vote spot in the United States on social media. It's a little bit country and a little bit reggae, so you got to check him out on Facebook and Instagram. I really like it. So good, and I hope it has an impact. Personally, I just remember the day that Mrs. Meeks came into the office to submit the paperwork for Tessa's first education assistance payment. And like any mother, she was so proud to tell us about everything that he was up to. And we love hearing what our students are up to. But she mentioned he was making amazing music and getting calls from the right people in the right places, and that he was starting to create a bit of a stir in Florida, even having planned and executed a huge post-election anti-Trump rally in Orlando. It was covered on CNN. But from that moment, I knew that Tess would be someone to watch. I've been following his career, exposing my boys to his music and sharing the Bounce commercial with anyone who would listen. because I'm so proud of what one of our heritage babies is accomplishing, making waves. And I have to add to that, I just love his music. So before we chat with Tess, we're going to start off with a bit of his performance, recorded on one of the rare sunny afternoons last week, called Searching.
Okay. I've been searching my life for the words in my mind got me hurting bad guy, you're not certain, no. I've been searching my life for the words in my mind got me hurting bad guy, you're not certain, no. Alright, read the man, blues check the clues, who's now killing them? True light the fuse, burn bright within them. Choose for snooze with the tugs and the sin of them. She really not the innocence, maybe though. Take out the ladies with our ladies when it's 80 low. Don't like it, it's kinda shaky, that's the way it go. She have me crazy, pushing daisies, make okay for show. But me just I say, yo, I've been searching my life for the words in my mind got me hurting bad guy, you know. Alright, I've been searching my life for the words in my mind got me hurting bad guy, you know. She no wanna loving, just a puff and just enough for have her cruising. Fuck, she says she tough, me call the bluff and have her moving. Funny says she running but can't run away from true things. It's truth you choosing, next route that's amusing her. Accusing her crimes, kinda mind them no monetary. Musing your lies blind to light in the fusing the wise with rhymes for right commentary. Using my eyes, oh lord. I've been searching all night for the words in my mind got me hurting bad guy, you're not certain, no. I've been searching my life for the words in my mind got me, I should be hurting bad guy, you're not certain, no. I've been searching my life for the words in my mind got me hurting bad guy, you're not certain. Blessings, fam. This is Tessellated right here speaking. We're right here in Kingston, Jamaica. You don't know. A bag of craziness is going on, but we're in the backyard playing some music, trying to bring some good vibes to everybody. So I have a few songs to sing for you guys. Let's get to it.
There is more. I do have more, I promise. And can I just say, like, I'm getting texts. Everyone's like, oh, this song is awesome. This is so good. So, you know, I just like to sit and vibe and by myself. So thank you very much for that recording to you and your group, Tess. It was fantastic.
No problem.
And it's clear that you're a really talented musician. Can I ask, when did you know that music was your calling?
You know, I've always kind of like had a love for music and I've always enjoyed it. It's kind of been a constant in my life for a long period. But it was really like when I was 16, 17, I realized like, oh, you know, this is actually what I want to do professionally. I want to pursue this as a career. I think honestly, it wasn't even fully about realizing that I had a love for it, but it was more realizing that, oh, you know, I can actually make a career out of this. It didn't really seem like an option. And then I started understanding more about the industry and meeting more people who actually had music as a career. And I realized like, hey, this is something I can do.
It was possible. So this might be a tough question, but if it wasn't music, then what would you have done?
Probably something else in the arts, like probably like maybe something to do with video or photography. Definitely something along that lane. I do a lot of photography myself still, and like, graphic design. I do a bit of digital painting and all that. So definitely something on the visual side if it wasn't music.
Interesting, video, not audio, but good to hear. Let me ask you then, because I heard somewhere you were recording in your closet. Now you're remixing music for Apple and having an Emmy nomination. Is this how you kind of saw your career playing out?
I definitely didn't see it playing out exactly this way. 'Cause I think music and just the arts in general are one of those things that, it's not as simple a path as, following a straight line. But I had the general idea of the direction I wanted to go in, and I believed that I could do it. So then the pieces kind of fell into place along the way.
Yeah, and it sounds like you've got a lot of support
Definitely.
from family. But let me ask, with so many distractions and options out there, how did your parents' support help to motivate and keep you focused on your passion? I'm trying to learn a little bit too here as a parent as we do this.
Yeah. So I think the thing with them, like, they never try to steer me necessarily in a direction like, okay, we want you to do this or we want you to do that. They were always just more about how I did things. So it was always about making sure that if I did something, that I was doing it properly. Or that, whatever I decide I want to do, I commit to it and put 100% in it, right? Like my dad always loved to say, what the thing go again? He used to annoy me with this. You say, with all that you do with your might, things done by halves are never done right. So it's like that type of thing. So even with music, they never tried to discourage me from music. It was more about, okay, how are you going to do music? Okay, you're going to go to music school. You're going to do this. Like, we can figure it out. We just have to like have a plan. So they've always been super supportive and just like, because a lot of people that I know even in the arts who are extremely talented and are actually doing things, they have to fight with their families.
To get to
So
do what they want to do.
exactly. So it's an extra level of things they have to work through just to be able to get to do what they want to do, even if they're already doing it. So definitely having that support from the start, and just knowing that whatever is going through, it's like, okay, I have my people supporting me. It's a huge help, just motivationally on a level, and one less thing to worry about.
Totally. So,
Yeah.
I mean, with so much emphasis still being placed on science and business, and I'm sure, Dad's an orthodontist, how do you think parents how would you encourage parents to give their children the freedom to explore the things that they're interested in?
Well, I think it's just like it's a new age for creatives, right? I think creative careers are much more accessible, and there's a lot less. The same thing. It's still a little bit different because it's not as simple as, okay, go into school and then boom, you definitely have this job, right? If you want to be a doctor, you can go to medical school and someone will hire you to be a doctor. You can open your own firm. With creative industry, it's still a little bit more open-ended. However, there's so many jobs in the creative industry, and the thing is, there's honestly been jobs in the creative industry because doctors are extremely important, lawyers are extremely important, right? Bankers are extremely important. All of these professions are important. However, at the end of the day, literally every person, while they need those things to live, those are not the things they're living for, right? The things they're living for is enjoyment. They're living to, enjoy art. They're living to go to concerts, right? To watch movies, to have films, to put up art in their house, to decorate, right? Put on nice clothes, all these different things. So the arts are really like omnipresent in our lives. Like, right? Even like right now, look at this. Like we're in this. Somebody had to design this mock-up for this shoe, right? The poster behind you, the necklace, that's super dope that you're wearing, right?
Thank you.
All these things are creative jobs. So I think it's just really realizing that, okay, being a creative and having a career in the arts doesn't mean say, okay, you either have to be a pop star or nothing, right? Or you're gonna be broke. There's a lot of solid jobs, and there's a lot of solid opportunities for a lot of people. It's just really understanding it, because really, all these parents, even parents who are saying, oh, they want their children to be doctor or lawyer, it's out of the best interest. They want them to be successful, but that's just all they know. In the time they're growing up, they thought that, okay, if you weren't a doctor or a lawyer, then it was kind of shaky prospects. They said, okay, these are the solid things, so they just want their kids to be solid. But if they can understand that, they can be solid doing a lot of
Other things.
then I
Yeah.
think it will change the whole landscape of that for sure.
Yeah. And it's interesting because so few of us, well, I won't say few of us, many of us love and enjoy what we do, but few of us get to do for a living what is our passion. My brother is an artist, and for him, I'm kind of sitting, I love what I do. I really do. But a little bit jealous that in your day to day, you get to do something that you're really passionate about. And it's a blessing. It really is.
No, definitely. Definitely.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the foundations in education at Full Sail. How do you think that education helped put you on this path? Because your work is very different. I don't know that you learned that at school. Did it help to inform?
Yeah. So I think, same thing as it comes to music, not everything is learned. A lot of things, it's really just practice and experience. But the thing about Full Sail, I think Full Sail definitely changed my perspective on a lot, right? Because I went from, being in a normal school where, I did music, not a lot of other people really did music, or some people did it as a hobby. And I had a couple of people that I would interact with. And also in general too, as I said, in society, while my parents were supportive, there's still a lot of doubt and kind of like a cynical mindset when it comes to telling people that you're involved in the arts or that you want to do music. So that comes from even like certain friends or teachers or family members and whatnot. But then transitioning into a place where literally everybody is pursuing a creative career, and everybody has that positive mindset and everybody believes that they can do it. It just shifted because now you're no longer worried about, what somebody's thinking or trying to convince somebody or this or that or anything. You're just focused on doing it, and actually doing it and learning and progressing. Just being around so many different people, even though, they weren't maybe making the exact same style as me, or some of them didn't have the same goals as me. Like I wanted to be a producer and an artist. Some people wanted to go into engineering. Some people wanted to like go and run a studio for themselves. Some people wanted to do audio for movies. But the similar things, everyone's like working towards a goal, and actually, they're serious to the point that same thing, they're going to go to school for it. So it really just changed my whole energy towards things and allowed me to just focus on getting better and trying to achieve the goals.
Yeah. And you were all talking the same language, speaking the same language, which is nice.
Just around,
to be immersed in it.
100%,
yeah.
100%.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of, well, you're too old for this, but too young, sorry, but Fame, the show where kids used to go to a performing school for the arts in high school. Yeah. To have that in a college environment as well is pretty fantastic. So this might be a weird question, but what advice would you give your 4-year-old self? What would you say to Joshua at 4 years old?
I wouldn't say anything, you get me? Because it wouldn't have any impact. Like when I was 4 years old, wait, you said 4 years ago or 4 years old?
4 years old, but I could fast forward and say, tell me Joshua at like 12 or 15.
Okay.
Too.
Yeah, because the thing is, 4 years old, I think, there's a lot of lessons that a lot of people try to teach at that age. I think all parents try to teach their kids lessons as early as possible because they don't want them to have to learn the hard way. But I think a lot of things you just have to learn the hard way because there's no real appreciation or understanding of the significance of certain lessons until you go through it and you're like, oh, this is why. Before, like, you could have told me anything. You could have told me the secret to life. You could have told me secret to riches. You could have told me the secret to happiness. I wouldn't have put any of it into place because I had to learn certain lessons myself, right?
Right.
So I would just see my 4-year-old self and be like, yo, hold this popsicle or whatever and just on your way. But 4 years ago, there's definitely a lot I could have told myself just because I think same thing. That's what really when my career, I've been already making music and been a musician, but that's when my real music career started taking off. And there's just a lot of hard lessons as it comes to business and like coming from everything being super lax to all of a sudden there's like money in the equation and there's accountants and there's managers and there's collaboration and contracts and labels and all this type of thing.
It's not just about music anymore.
Exactly. It's not just about music anymore. And that was the hard part. But I think on the flip side, it's strange because it's not about music, but then the hard part is actually keeping it about music, even though there's so much that's not about music, right? Because once you lose it being about music, then there's nothing, right? Because there's nothing about music.
Yeah.
So there's like two sides, and it's like that's a hard balance to find. And also I'll just tell myself probably just about the people that, like, you really have to look out for yourself, because same thing as a young youth, it's like 19, 20. I was coming into this like kind of not haven't really I never had a job or even like worked outside of music. So just learning about you can't really trust everybody. You kind of have to. Not everybody fully has your best interests at heart, and then but it's also not as black and white as that. So it's like not everybody has, like, some people might have your interests at heart to a level, but then they also maybe hold their interests higher than that.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that someone's going to be a terrible person, but you have to look out for yourself first, because so there's a lot of different things. But honestly, I think that even then, as I said, like, really going through the motions has helped me more than anything, just to develop as a person, for my music to develop and my character to develop. So this is what it is.
Wow. Well, so with that, I'm going to have to flip to your parents, because they seem to have done a pretty good job with you. So I'm really excited to have both Mrs. Meeks and Dr. Meeks here. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. And you guys have kind of had the opportunity to see him from jump, right? And understand the progression of his journey. I'm curious, I have so many questions to ask, but let's start with the at the beginning. Like, we know that it's important to plan ahead. I know you've got 2 kids, Savannah. We're here talking about Joshua, but Savannah's also in college, and it can be really hard to kind of think then that you got to start planning and saving now. Can you tell us why you took the important steps of starting early?
Well, if I may go first, my parents before me had 3 kids in college at the same time, and they had to mortgage their house to keep us there. And so before I had children, I realized that having children and the prospect of college was a daunting prospect. And so from very early, it was present for me that I'd have to start doing something early to help the kids along. And your dad came along, Lindy.
It was my dad? Really?
Yeah. Right? He came along. Just Joshua was very small. I mean, Joshua was born already, but just really small. And he said, this is what we can do for you. Of course, there are a lot of people coming around then, and I'm looking at it skeptically, but we also had a friend who had enrolled in Heritage from Canada, and whose daughter, Carla, was at school in Jamaica, and it was working for them. So that recommendation said, okay, this looks like the right thing for me. And it worked for my friend, so I think it'll work for me. So that's how I got stuck to Heritage and decided from early on. Now, I would like to tell you something that I'd have told my earlier self when I just started Heritage, is that I'd have listened to Lindy a little bit more when he told me how much college was increasing in cost as the years went by. Okay, because what we started out, what seemed like a reasonable savings goal, of course, every year you can say, no, you need to be doing more and more and more. And some years I would listen to him and some years not. But I think that's something that Heritage is able to do that not everybody can, is that you're monitoring what's going on in the college funding market to a level that nobody else is doing it. And it's college fees are out of control, and if you're not following it closely, you'll lose the race.
Wow. Well, thank you very much for the plug. And it's great to know that not everyone can afford to save everything, but the fact that we can help you put the pieces in place early is really important as well. And I could transition a little bit into planning for his future, because I'm sure you probably had something in mind for Tess that is very different from where he landed. What would you say? How did you help to nurture him into where he is now, knowing that you have a plan and a goal, and he's heading maybe in a different? First of all, what was your plan? What did you see him doing, and then how did you help him get to where he is now?
Can I answer that one? Or
No, go ahead.
Okay, so one of the things about him is that he actually is naturally very bright. So he did well even when he didn't do a lot of work at school. But coming around to sixth form, because of his SAT scores, he was getting offers for scholarships. Right, including one for astrophysics at that basically feeds NASA. The NASA program. He got all of these scholarship offers, but basically we were finding that we weren't. Nowadays they use the app, so he would be the one to respond to them, and we were noticing we weren't getting responses, and we weren't getting the letters, even though the offers had been made. And at some point, I said to him, "What exactly is happening?" And that's when he kind of revealed that he wasn't sure what he wanted to do. And, you want your child to succeed, you want them to be happy, but you also want to help them, figure out what it is. And at 18 or at 16 or, it's very hard to know sometimes what it is that you want to do. And he asked for a gap year, and we said, okay. It wasn't something that we were looking forward to, but talking to his college counselor, she helped convince us that many kids were doing this, and it would be a good thing for him to figure out what it was that he wanted to do. And in that year, he would figure it out. But he says, I really think I want to explore music. And Full Sail came up. The counselor showed it to us within a couple of months of him being in his gap year. And once we went and visited, that was kind of it. He's like, yes, I want to explore this. I want to do this. And, you have to kind of say to yourself, it's their life. I need to support, because you do worry about them. But one of the things that I can tell you, and for parents who are looking at the creatives, and I have been asked to give this talk, I gave it to parents whose children were considering Full Sail, is that when you look at the creative industry, for example, the industry in music, just in music streaming, not in the full industry, it's something close to $2 trillion last year, 2019. That's how large the industry is. In terms of streaming and so on, it's about $22 billion a year in terms of the music. And that's not only, that's just the music. So when we worry about our children not succeeding, we must remember that, as Tess had said earlier, is that we may not think of it, but there's a whole industry. Somebody has to make the music, somebody paints the painting, and creatives do have a role. Somebody writes the books that we read, those things. And that is, and if it gives joy and they are happy doing it and living their passion, we have to support them.
For sure. And was it hard to kind of let go of that vision that you had, or an easy transition?
Jeff, you want to answer?
Well, I did not have a vision, because Joshua, as Vicky just said, Joshua was naturally talented. He could have done anything he wanted if he had wanted to do it. It just took him a little bit long to actually fess up and say that this is what I want to do. I think he thought that it would bother me somehow, but eventually when he actually fessed up, I was happy that he had chosen something that he wanted to do, and decided to pursue it.
Yeah. I have one last question for you about certainly the content of music, social activism as it relates to that Trump march. You've created a hero. You've helped to raise it.
Anti-Trump march.
Anti-Trump. Can we have another one, please? But you put yourself out there in a big way, and you've raised someone who really has you've nurtured his creativity, but also a really strong sense of self and commitment. How did you go about nurturing that over, as he got older?
He got that from his mother, so I'll let her answer that question. They are both braver than me, so there you have it.
without getting into family secrets, that's not exactly true, because you'll have had your moments of protest, and so has the family in general. It's really about just having a conviction and actually just working towards it. If you believe in something, then do something about it. See how you can help, see how you can get involved, see what you can do. And that's kind of the philosophy, whatever it is. And so, there are things that he has done that has surprised us in terms of we didn't even know he was doing it. But just as an example, his first concert ever that he put on, he gave all the money to charity. He gave it all to Oprah Boys music program. And that was something that he chose to do himself. So, it's about making your children aware and also exposing them to what is going on within our life and within our world, and seeing how we can make a difference. And I think that's just something that we've always, subscribed to as a family.
Wow. Well, I'm seeing the next up cue, which probably tells me we're at time. But and thank you, Tess, for allowing us to talk about you and for sharing so much of yourself with us and your music. I can't wait to hear the rest of your performances tonight. But before you go, we have just a little something for you. It's not big, but just something in honor on the creative artistic side. As one of our outstanding heritage beneficiaries, I don't know if everyone, I'm very bad at showing off.
Yeah,
This is an Edward Powell piece, and I love his work. We have several pieces in our office. So I hope you'll hang it somewhere and remember us always, and the fact that you were part of this milestone with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I will deliver it personally over the course of the next week or so, but just wanted to say thank you.
Okay, wicked. Say less.
For your commitment and all your hard work. You're doing such a great job.
Thank you so much.
And thanks, you guys. Dr. Meeks, Mrs. Meeks, looking forward to seeing you and to continued success to all of you. And be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your support.
Have a great night.
Okay.
Good night. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
So I'm so excited. You can tell I'm a big fan, right? But I'm going to introduce now to one of our long-serving reps. Glenna Trail-Nassor is an associate agency director, and she's just going to share her memorable moment. Over to you, Glenna.
I've been in the business for 18 years, and one of my most memorable events was 16 years ago when Nicholas came into the office with his parents for a presentation. I enrolled Nicholas in the plan, and upon leaving the office, Nicholas shouted in the most excited 3-year-old voice, "I am going to university." Nicholas is now at Georgia State University, and I'm so thrilled to have been a part of his journey.
Such a special story. He's going to university. Does he know what university is? Probably not. And Sybil McLean, who is retiring actually at the end of this month, at the end of this week. We just want to thank her for her service and allow her to say a few words.
One of the best gifts we can give our children is that of a tertiary education. As a sales representative with Heritage over the past 18 years, my most memorable moment is that of seeing a mother who, although through life's challenges and the death of her husband, was able to assist her 2 daughters to matriculate into university overseas with the assistance of funds from the Heritage Education Savings Plan. As I go in retirement, I'm so grateful to have been a part of their journey.
Thank you once again, Sybil. I'm really, really proud of what you've accomplished over the years. And there's so much that we want to share with you. So I'm going to cut to a little taste more of Tessellated and Pine and Ginger, and then we're going to lead into our discussion with Gregory. So over to Pine and Ginger, one of my faves.
Bless fam, hope you're enjoying the energy so far. I'm Tessellated. This is the vibe. I want to introduce everybody to you real quick so you can know who's bringing this beautiful music to your ears. So first, we have Philip Circa Philo on the bass. Jav, aka Weekday on the keys. Mundo, aka Mundo Dan on the gits. And Al, aka Falcon, on the drums. So right now, I'm going to sing a song for you guys I did a couple years back called Pine and Ginger. Hope you enjoy. Hey, what me say? Hey. She a sip pine and ginger. Tell her if you wine pon the thing and she not play that. She a sip pine and ginger. Tell her if you wine pon the thing and she not play that. She have the rum in the sorrow. Guess me I drink away my sorrows. Guess me not care about tomorrow. I guess she not care about tomorrow. She a sip pine and ginger. Tell her if you wine pon the thing and she not. Ooh, she a sip pine and ginger. Tell her if you wine pon the thing and she not play that. She have the rum in the sorrow. Guess me I drink away my sorrows. Guess me no. I guess me not care about tomorrow. She have the pine with the ginger. Spliff like time, girl, I get injured. Miss right wine, never you linger. Move quick like Jackie Chan ninja. When me in ya, me tell her if you wine pon the, wine pon the, wine pon the thing. Climb for the, climb for the, climb for the king. But all know me I sing, me I preach, she no move from my drink. She a sip pine and ginger. Tell her if you wine pon the thing and she know what. She a sip pine and ginger. Tell her if you, she have the rum in the sorrel. Guess me I drink away my sorrows. Guess me no. I guess me not care about tomorrow. Me have the body not the leave. She have the body not the leave. We have the body not the leave. Put the fire to the split, smoke away for release. Me have the body not the leave. Me have the body not the leave. We have the body not the leave. Put the fire to the split, smoke away for release. She has sip pine and ginger. Tell her if you wine pon the thing and she not play that. She has sip pine and ginger. Tell her if you and she not play that. She have the rum in the sorrel. Guess me I drink away my sorrows. Guess me not care about tomorrow. I guess me not.
Wow, thanks, Tess. I have to say I do miss the young lady, Kesmandi. I think she's beautiful, but this was just so nice. Thank you for sharing that with us. And really excited to also get to know our next guest. We're joined tonight by Gregory Jones, an educator, mentor, youth coach, counselor, and father of twin boys. He has an extensive experience in mentoring with youth through his work in various youth groups, such as Youth for Christ and Youth with a Mission. He sits on the board of the Dominic Alessandro James Foundation, which seeks to provide scholarships and mentorship to high school athletes. And he's made it his mission to mentor and train youth into developing their talent and gifts through sports and education. And we couldn't think of a more suitable person to speak with us about the ways we as parents can help our children balance their passion and their education. So thanks so much for being with us today, Gregory, this evening.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Nice. You are.
And I have to say, we had a brief conversation this morning. I kept saying, "Oh, just make sure you say that later, please, because we need to stop talking." So I'm a mom of two boys, age 16 and 9, and they're both athletes. So I'm busy, taking notes today while we were speaking. Right. And I know that. Well, let's start with you. You're a parent and a mentor to youth. How do you manage to separate the roles so that you can, better connect with those in your charge?
It's hard to separate because when you're mentoring, the mentees are like kids, like your own children. Mm-hmm. So it's really difficult. And so it helps me in both aspects of my life. So even with my own children, there are some things that I'm learning as a mentee, a mentor, that I'm using in my own way to father my sons. It's important that you build a relationship with your mentees and you connect with them. Most of these boys and girls are teenagers. And of course, it's really difficult to, especially for a lot of parents, to balance or to raise teenagers. It's really a difficult time for many parents, but it's difficult to separate because they're like my own kids.
They are. And so have you adapted your parenting style as a result of your experience as a mentor? Have you improved or been a better parent as a result, do you think?
I think I have, and I've actually learned a lot from my past. I never had a strong father figure in my life. So for me, I have to be that father to my sons that I never had. And even for some of the guys that I work with, they are fatherless. So I have to be a father for them who are without father. So it helps me, believe me, it helps. I'm not a great father. That's my aspirations, right? I'm not a great mentor, but I'm aspiring. I love working with young men. I love working with young people because I think there's a need for mentorship for a lot of our young people.
Wow, that's really important. And so part of the conversation that we had earlier with Tess and his parents was, working to balance passion and academics. As someone who works so closely with youth, what are some of the challenges that you notice that they have in understanding that both can go hand in hand?
It's for a lot of teenagers or young people. Let me use the term young people. They are whenever they find what their passion is, it's everything towards their passion. So let me use an example. So for even the guys that I coach, because I also coach football, and I say to the guys, you're students first and a footballer second. They would like the reverse. They would like to be seen as a footballer first. And I'm sure as a soccer mom, my boys love football. I mean, football days are the happiest days of their life, right? And so they want to be a footballer first and academics come second. But it has to be reversed. You're a student, no, you're in an academic institution, and the sports will come after. Yes, you might at some point in your life become a professional athlete, and that's all well and good. But there has to be a balance between both. And we must encourage that as parents. In our society, we have a prima donna mentality where we create little stars. We want to strike a balance for them. Academics is absolutely important. I like the NCAA. I like what they do in the United States, where the college is important. It's a part of your culture. It should be a part of our culture, right? In the United States, going to college is a big thing. It's not so big here. And I'll relate a story to you. I have a friend who she's now leaving sixth form, and her parents says to her, well, go work. You have 4 CAPE and 8 C6 subjects. Go and work. And pay yourself through school or go night school or whatever, but go work. You need to go and work. And so the college thing for them is not important, but education is important, and we must help them to strike that balance.
So it's one thing to say it, right? So I'm going to put the mom hat on.
Right.
When they don't see that going to school they don't believe that is what is going to pay off in the long run. Why spend the time? Like, you can't make them do, right? How would you suggest as parents that we help them to understand the value, that there's a worth? I keep saying, well, what happens if you get an injury? How else are you going to sustain yourself? What other options are there that may be sport related? But how would you tell us as parents how do we help them get it beyond looking them over the head and shaking them?
When I watched the story just now with Tess, and I said it to you this morning, one of the things that we need to do as parents is we need to build relationships with our kids. Yeah, it's critical. I think when you relate to the young people now, one of their biggest cries that our parents don't listen, and parents will say in return, my child, they don't talk, right? But the reality is that communication is important. So I say that if you build relationships and you will trust that, as Dr. Meeks, when you listen to Tess and the story goes back and forth, Dr. Meeks said the boy just after a while decides to come to his father and tell his father what he wanted to do. But there had to be an element of trust, right? Because I know trust. And if you know your child, then you're going to have to trust that child. As a parent, it's difficult because a lot of times we want to live vicariously through our children. I'd love my 2 kids to end up in Europe playing football on one of the big football teams. That's my dream. That's not necessarily what's going to happen. Or their mom is a doctor. I don't know if she wants them to be a doctor, but my point though is whatever their dreams are, we're gonna have to support them, right? We're gonna have it's a difficult thing to do sometimes as parents, but we're gonna have to support them. Les Brown says something: if you help them achieve their dreams, then you will also achieve your dreams. Because the reality is, if they become successful, you have already done what you're supposed to as a parent. Your job is to support, to be the support mechanism for them. And you're going to have to trust that they're going to make the right decision. Truth be told, they're more exposed than we were when we were teenagers. Let's be real, let's be honest. They have already plotted what they want to do or what they want to become in life. What we need to do is support. Once you put things in place, support. Help them assess whether the goals that they have or whether the goals that are whatever they require to do, help them to see those come to pass. Be specific. Help them to establish those goals. Help them to see what the obstacles are, as you were saying a while ago. Hey, you want to be a professional footballer? Guess what? You might have an injury, you might tear an ACL, and that's going to be it. What is the backup plan? What is the backup plan? Understand? Because the truth be told, probably if Usain Bolt parents had said, hey, no track and field, we would not have a Usain Bolt as the legendary Usain Bolt is. So we have to encourage, we have to help them to build on those dreams, try and help them to work out alternative cases. Because guess what? The truth is that something might happen along the way. And that's the reality. Tess said something important a while ago. He says, we've been hearing things, don't do this, don't do that. And he says, listen, sometimes we have to learn. Sometimes and it's that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna have to learn. We are parents, what we're gonna do, when they learn the hard way, we're gonna have to be there to pick up the pieces, let's go again, right? But I encourage my parents to build relationships, right? Listen to what they're saying and speak to them. You can't raise children on rules without a relationship, because the result will be rebellion. Again, you can't raise children on rules without a relationship. It will result in rebellion. So we want to foster relationships with them, good working relationships that we can communicate.
Okay, so next question then is, as our heading says, advice for other parents, what are some ways that we can foster relationships with them, particularly now, we're in COVID time, and I spend enough time with mommy and daddy already. So how do we get through all of that and still work to nurture that relationship in a time where nobody really wants to talk to each other?
It's, the whole COVID thing is a very difficult time for a lot of young people. A lot of teenagers are going through, and they'll tell you, it's hell being home with mommy and daddy. And mommy and daddy works from home. It's like living in an asylum. It is crazy. But then you have kids who will say, it's okay. I mean, mommy and daddy, we have a rapport. Again, relationships. But what I recommend for parents to do is do things together as a family, right? Even this COVID time, the kids can't go out a lot now because there's no school to go and there's a curfew. What I do with my kids, I take them to the river, ones that are not locked or closed or banned. I take them to the river, I take them to the Blue Mountains, I take them hiking, I take them to do things outdoor. So it doesn't feel like they're always inside. And if you do things together as a family, you're forced to talk to each other. Let's be real, right? Yeah. We have movie nights where we watch a Netflix movie and we do the popcorn and the hot dog like we're at the theater. We have to get creative. We cook together. I've cooked my best meals in COVID and the boys are helping. And it fosters a bond that you're not gonna find. It works. Before COVID, what used to happen, my wife would come home from work she'll have dinner, the boys will have dinner, and they'll go to bed, and I'll come home and I'll come, and there was no family dinner time. There was no sitting around the table. So COVID, there are some positives in COVID, and force positives. And what it does for parents, I think now is the time to capitalize on this era, this moment where you can spend quality time with your children, checking on them, find out what is happening, talk to them. Even if they don't want to talk to you, talk to them. Listen to what they are saying, because believe me, they have a lot to say.
So true. It's funny, as I'm talking to you, I have to give some shout outs to my husband, because everything you've described, he has done. And I'm really, really proud of what he's accomplishing with our boys. So huge props to my husband and dads out there who are really involved in creating that relationship.
I think it helps with the mental state of our young people. It really, really helps. And especially for the fathers, quite a number. I mentor a lot of kids who the father is at home, but it's non-existent. So even for the fathers, and I'm speaking to the fathers tonight. Yeah, I'm speaking to you right now. This is the time to spend some time with your kids. They want to do well, but they need a support system. And so daddy and mommy have to be on board. When you look at the story a while ago with Dr. Meeks and Mrs. Meeks and Tess, it's a team thing. It's a complete team effort. Our young people need to be supported. They need to feel like mommy have their backs and daddy have their backs. It can't be a combative, dictatorial type of a relationship all the time. Then it will breed rebellion. So if you want to foster, if you want them to succeed, build that nurturing relationship.
So important, and an important message for mummies too, who haven't taken the time. You know, even a little, I have tea with my 9-year-old, and that little time, the 10-15 minutes in the evening, that's a really important time to bond and get to know each other and find out about days. Dinner time is critical, and that's always been a priority for us. So I feel like we're checking some boxes, and we still have some more to check in the Clark household, but you've really given us some good tips. And I see Angie's point here: sports and other things that children are passionate about but help strengthen the brain is also a good way to encourage balance. So getting them outside is critical. You're right. Doing that through sport is critical, and just spending the time with them meaningfully is going to make a difference. And academics help to balance the passion. Children today are different from in the 80s in terms of their career choices. So we have to nurture both. You're absolutely right, Mr. Holgate, totally.
And I think also we ourselves as parents, Mrs. Meek said it, she went and she did some research on whatever career choice your children choose. Do some research. I mean, I have a friend now, and I'm working with their kid, and the kid is hurt because she was forced into medical school. She didn't want to do that, right? She wanted to do something else, but she's from a family of doctors, and you're going to be a doctor. And she wanted to do something else. So I must say thumbs up to the Meeks, because the social pressure sometimes from our friends can pose a challenge for us and our children. So I must give them maximum thumbs up for that, for allowing their son to express himself and to find what he loves. And that's success. That is success. If you get up every day doing something that you love, that's awesome. That's success.
That's a blessing. And they have fully supported. You know, Mrs. Meeks is also momager, right? She is supporting him fully in his career. And so, you know, there's definitely some great lessons to be learned. I have some great notes. The number one for me, Gregory, is the relationship, building the relationship so that they will be open to reaching out to us and telling us what's going on for them and what their choices are. And is there anything we haven't covered that you felt was really important to bring to the table today before we wrap things up?
I think I've said really what I wanted to say, and I want to encourage our parents to spend time with their kids, quality time. For me, in the mornings, taking the boys to school, we talk, and they're young, but that 30-40 minutes in traffic, it works, right? And mom takes them home, and it's a different discussion between mom. It's bonding time, so we can utilize those times and we can share. I think they want to talk to their parents. I believe that. They want to talk, but we need to be listening and build a relationship. That's I want to leave that. Build relationships.
Great. Thank you. Listen and build the relationships and be open. So thank you. I really appreciate all. You filled my cup, and I hope you've poured into others as well. And just thank you for taking the time today to share in so many ways. And we're coming to a close. I can't believe this has just been so fascinating. I have to say, I've really enjoyed this opportunity to learn from you and from the Meekses. We're going to wrap things up with the Tessa's song, I Just Learned Some Jazz Today, which really is my favorite, from the Emmy Nominated Bounce Apple AirPods commercial. But I do have a little important business to take care of. First of all, I really want to thank all of the everyone who joined us this evening online. For the first time, we were able to bring this to more of you because we were virtual. So there's the COVID plus. Thanks to our subscribers in particular who joined us this evening. I'm excited to let you know that there's an exclusive draw lined up just for you. So check your email next week for details, early next week. And I should note that tonight is the first in a series of 5 episodes. So look for us every Thursday in November right here on Facebook. Not only will we be sharing great content, but you'll also have an opportunity to enter your name in a draw. And it just arrived right before we started. A draw for one of these. So in the next few, every episode between now and the end of the month, we'll actually be posting a code. So you got to come back. You got to encourage your friends to check us out as well. And you'll have an opportunity to enter the draw for this. Next Thursday, November 5th, we'll be joined by Deanna Rose, who's a young environmentalist and a Chevening Scholarship winner. So we're going into the academic side of things. And Nadia Lewis-Gordon is going to guide us on alternative approaches to learning. I'm really excited to hear what she has to offer us during this time when we're all just trying to figure it out. I invite you to follow us on Facebook to learn more about the series and be the first to access downloadable parent resources. So we have some learning tools right now, but we're actually going to compile all of the resources from all of our experts and make them in a downloadable document for you. So we really hope that you'll get that and share it with your family and friends as well who might be interested. And certainly, please follow Tess on Instagram at TessVibe and download his latest release. Check out the Go Vote ad. It's really, the music is just lovely. And the last thing, it's a heritage production. So if you're interested in starting a plan, just let us know you're interested in the comments, and we'll be in touch to follow up and connect you with a rep who can answer all of your questions. So you don't need to hear from me anymore. I'm going to say a final thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here, for celebrating it with us, and for enabling us to serve you Jamaicans for the last 25 years. We look forward to 25 more. And I'm going to say goodnight so that you can enjoy #1 on the Billboard and Apple downloads. I Just Learned Some Jazz Today.
All right, so this is going to be my last song. This song, I did this last year as a collaboration with Apple for the new AirPods that were coming out. And it's a little vibe. I hope you guys will enjoy. Alright. I just learned some jazz today, it's true. I just learned some jazz today, and you gonna learn this jazz today. Yes, you gonna learn, hey. You gone. It was just past 1, 1, 2, 3, man with a 4, 5 step to my door like, oh my gosh, just throw that cash in a black bag, run around the back and pull up the track, cause couldn't believe them stories conceived for no reason. Please just go and leave them fakes in season, but me not pretend, cause nowadays you couldn't find me on the BBC, CTV, NBC. Them can't program we now. Let them try to go and see. Taking the heights like Andes, man, one step to me, couldn't get the best of, we couldn't beat the rest of, we check when we touch the brakes and go slow, oh no, dust them out with the one quick solo, jab. Alright, I just learned some jazz today, it's true. I just learned some jazz today, and you gonna learn this jazz today. Yes, you gonna learn what? Hey. Young you with the loop on the highway, with the deuce in the coupe, man, I tell no new news of the truth. So when I say slick up, and couldn't all we in there, no kunta kinte, have the strength I intend like the center incense, got the lengths the wind, and me I flex my wings, and them I try to swing, but couldn't I me, on any rhythm, they feeling it now, hype on the ceiling and not coming down, fighting the feeling that life is a dream, but then living is death when it comes back around, so we just live for the sound. Hey, around here we make the sun rays soaking first, unspoken with the third eye open, bruh. I just learned some jazz today, it's true. I just learned some jazz today, and you gonna learn this jazz today. Yes, you gonna learn. You gonna learn, you gonna learn. I say we da ba 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 da we do. You gonna learn, you gonna learn. You gonna learn, you gonna learn, you gonna, hey. You gonna learn this jazz today. Yes, you about to learn this jazz. Ooh, I even taught you girl some jazz yesterday. True. Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bless, fam. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Hope you guys stay safe, stay happy, stay productive, keep moving forward. We're going to get through this together. Enough love.